Hello, you're watching India Today Global with me, Shita Mitra. Now, in Bangladesh, the political ground is shifting fast, and this is certainly going to have implications for New Delhi. You have growing opposition against Muhammad Yunus, the interim leader, and you also have the return of Jamaat-e-Islami, once banned from politics, and now it's raising serious alarm among secular voices, and especially the pro-liberation youth of the country. Now, for many in Bangladesh's student movement, this isn't just about politics, it's about national identity, secularism, and also rejecting what they see as a soft coup in the making. So joining me now on India Today Global is Hussain Sadaam. He's the president of Bangladesh's Student League and also former Assistant General Secretary of Dhaka University's Central Student Union. And now he has emerged as a strong voice against both Muhammad Yunus and also against the creeping normalization of Jamaat in Bangladesh. So thank you, Mr. Hussain, for joining us here.
Thank you for connecting me.
All right, now let's start with a big question, which is about the debate over the election timeline in Bangladesh. Now, Muhammad Yunus has proposed a timeline of somewhere between December 2025 to June 2026. But most political parties of the country do not agree with that. Even the army of the country do not favor that. How do you look at the debate yourself?
Thank you for raising these critical questions. You know that the main agenda of the current regime is to, increasing the duration of their power. And election is not their priority because, if you want to hold a free, fair, and inclusive election, you have to give democratic spaces, you have to be neutral, you have to be full command on the law and order situation. Right now, this government itself is illegal, unconstitutional, and they did not get any sort of mandate from the people. It also suppressed against Awami League. The Bangladesh Awami League, this party lead the independent movement. This represents the majority of the people of Bangladesh. So when you are banning the Bangladesh Awami League, you are actually silencing the voices of the majority part of the people of the Bangladesh. So without Bangladesh Awami League, there cannot be an free, fair, and inclusive election. And the agenda of the current fascist regime is, they are just trying to increase their duration. They are trying to tighten the hold of the fundamental by whose blessings they are in actually power. And this government is in interim, and they also failed in maintaining the neutrality of the government. If this government, this illegal government, they facilitate one political party recently formed and is still unregistered by the Election Commission, NCP. They are supporting this party. The bureaucracy is supporting this party by the direction of the illegal regime. And the current law and order situation, to have a free, fair election, the law and order situation must be in a fair way. But Bangladesh is now not a democracy. Bangladesh is now a mobocracy, actually, where anyone can do anything. There is no rule of law. There is no separation of judiciary. Actually, government directed, what will be the verdict of the court actually. And to ensure a election, that you have to make a level playing field. All political parties will have their works, they will have their campaignings, they will have their organizational work. The voice of all the political parties and peoples must be heard by the state. But right now, the banned Bangladesh Awami League, which is the largest political party, which is the creator of the independent country, and who is, that holds the democratic liberal values of the country. So when you are actually banning the political party, when you make the state a totally lawless state, I think they will hold election. The people of Bangladesh do not believe this actually. To hold a free and fair election, to make a stable Bangladesh, the first requirement is this government must go, and this fascist regime must come to an end, I think.
All right. Now, from what you've spoken, a lot of points have emerged, and we will take that up one by one. But you said what Yunus has been doing so far is not legal, is not in line with the constitution. But Yunus, keeps on saying about these reforms. He says that there are certain conditions that have to be met in order for the country to hold elections. So, what are these reforms that Mr. Yunus keeps talking about? And also, does he have any mandate to carry out these reforms? And also, are these reforms a disguise to his political aspirations?
Actually, talking about reforms, arranging dialogues about reforms is just an excuse to extend his power, nothing else. And what sort of reform will be done by an unelected government? Is it possible in the democratic world? You are not elected, you do not get any sort of mandate, you are not legal, you do not come by a constitutional process, and you say what sort of reform will be done? Reform will be done by the constitutional means, by the the elected representatives can do some sort of reforms. So reform is not actually the main purpose of the of this government. After holding power in Bangladesh, this illegal government, what did they actually do? There is no maintaining conflict of interest. He himself declared the interim chief, and he exempted himself from the cases against him. He gave tax exemption to his company. He gave licenses to the Grameen Telecom, digital banking, universities, medical facilities. His company is doing business with the foreign companies. So actually, there is no. The main agenda of this government is, that the attaining his personal agenda. This is the sole priority of this regime. And also, that the right now, Bangladesh, all sort of fundamental parties who is previously involved in terrorist activities, which had a role in our had a role in anti-liberation and violent activities against the people of Bangladesh. They are right now leading the country, and Yunus he himself, and he is surrounded by this sort of people, this sort of gangs, this sort of terrorist organizations. So he is saying about reformation, and actually the fundamental groups who want to make this state a religious state, who want to make this state a fundamental state, and who do not want constitutional law, they want Sharia law. So I think reform is just a farce by the Yunus government actually.
All right, so from what you described, clearly this seems like a case of, abuse of power on Yunus's part, and we'll get into that. Now, you've also mentioned Awami League, and we know that, ever since Sheikh Hasina was ousted from the country and Yunus came to power, so anyone or anything associated with the previous government has, become a target. I want to understand, after the ban, what is the situation of the party currently in the country and its workers?
There, after before when the movement was going on in July, August, and after 5 August, there has been attack on the Bangladesh Awami League activists, Bangladesh Students League activists. They are threatened the lives of these organizations' people. Thousands of people have been killed. Minorities have been attacked. Women's have been attacked, and according to the report by Human Rights Watch, just in the last month, 48,000 people were arrested, and now they are in prison. That means per day, more than 1,500 people are getting arrested in Bangladesh right now. After 5 August, 3 lakh people has been arrested, and right now they are in the prison. So this is actually the scenario of the state. Whenever you are, whenever you are protesting against the government, they state that this is a crime against the state. So the only independence you have right now in Bangladesh is supporting the government. This is the only right you have to support the government.
You're saying, which is left to people.
Yeah. That's the scenario. And Bangladesh Awami League, they banned these organizations. The direction by this Yunus government, they attacked the people of this party. and their house has been burned, their
What about the legal
property has been
course? We've
vandalized.
given to understand the party has taken the legal course after the ban. What about that?
If you say what is the legal implications actually, the government itself is not legal. So the people of Bangladesh, the democratic forces of Bangladesh, they do not think that the government is on the right side. So the priority of the people of Bangladesh is restoring democracy, and then there can be fair competitive politics in Bangladesh, democratic politics. People can have their own choices. That's right, but the government itself is taking illegal decisions.
Okay. Now you have mentioned about the opposition that has been growing against Yunus in the country, but we also saw a few days ago there was a march taken for the Yunus. The march was in line with what Yunus is proposing, that reforms first, elections later. So then how do you look at that?
It is actually a state-sponsored drama. Most of the people of Bangladesh is against this government. If you see the current situation in Bangladesh, all the government officials, because the fascist Yunus government is trying to use the government officials for their own political agenda. They are giving new sort of repressive laws. So government officials are against the government. Bangladesh police, that the hundreds of police has been killed in the July, August, and later part. And the Yunus government, they give indemnity to the killers, to the criminals. Then the justice to the police cannot be attained. And if you see the situation of the primary school teachers, the school has been shut down for their own demands. Dhaka, that has become actually every day the situation, a lawless situation is everywhere in right now in Bangladesh. And the safety of the women, if you see that women cannot go outside their house as their wish, because there was mobocracy, there is moral policing. The fundamental groups are dictating which time women can be out of the house and what will have to they wear. And in the garments industry, that the women are working on the garment industries, and that so many garments has been collapsed or closed, and so that women are out of work right now. So every sort of people, every part of the people is now against the government. They want an end of the government. They want democracy to be restored. They want human rights to be restored again.
All right. So clearly there is growing discontentment among the people of Bangladesh. Now, one of the other parties of this larger debate is also the army of the country. We saw there was a very silent role played by the army. We did not see a very active role during Sheikh Hasina's ouster. But in the last few days, the army chief of the country has become a lot more vocal. He's expressed his disagreement with the way Yunus has been, working out. I want to ask you, what if Yunus does not agree to this timeline? Do you think the army could take some drastic action in the country?
This is actually reflecting the situation of Bangladesh, where the army is demanding for elections, army is demanding for electoral representatives, and the illegal government itself, they are trying to they are trying to avoid that situation. They are trying to avoid that giving power to the people's representatives. And not only that, that regarding the human corridor issues, the government is taking risks about our sovereignty regarding human corridor issues and Chittagong port issues without consulting the Bangladesh army, without consulting our other stakeholders, without consulting the political parties. They are doing they are doing those. They are giving the country for their own personal agenda. They are they are taking such sort of decisions which ultimately invite the external interference, and which ultimately resulted in the permanent instability in Bangladesh regarding human corridor issues and Chittagong port. This government itself said this is the interim government, but it is doing such other such businesses which are not related with the characteristics of the interim government. So I think Bangladesh Army, which is really the symbol of the Bangladesh's sovereignty and freedom, and they are on the right track, I think, and the people also are against this government. I think, um,
So, in that case,
but
what role do you expect from the army in the coming future?
we believe in the people's uprising. We believe in the mass movement, and I think people from all walks of life ultimately come in the streets. They will make their movement strong, and in a mass movement, I think this regime will end.
All right. Now you mentioned NCP, which is the party launched by the students who led the protest against Sheikh Hasina and eventually which led to her ouster. You yourself are a student leader. I want to ask you at this stage, with the way situation has been playing out in the political landscape, are students leading the Bangladesh polity right now?
Uh, yeah, if I mention the events of the July, August, and the student movement, there was a popular demand of quota reformation in the
Yeah.
government employment system in Bangladesh. And the Awami League government itself abolished the quota system in 2018. This issue came again in the by direction of the court, actually. Awami League government, the student wing of Bangladesh Awami League, we are on the side of the students' demand, and we urge the government, we arrange protest, and the government itself, that played their role in the judiciary also. So the situation and the demand of the students actually fulfilled. Within 11 July 24, the quota system has been again abolished, and the demand of the students has been fulfilled. But actually, the movement has been hijacked, and it was actually controlled by the fundamental groups, by other opposing political parties. They orchestrated killings and give the blame to the government. And by doing this, they worsen the situation and take control by applying backdoor politics. And right now, students of the Bangladesh, they want democratic Bangladesh. They want the government should be run by the people's representative. And also, students of Bangladesh is anger regarding this government stance on liberation. What that they are saying about reset button, they are erasing our history. They are rooting our country to the ideals which are not inconsistent with our liberation, our ideologies, because Bangladesh was formed to make a the democratic, secular, liberal country. But the regime led by fascist Yunus, that Bangladesh is rooting for a fundamental religious, lawless state. So students are also, and another important thing is that the employment situation right now in Bangladesh is totally bad, because
Okay.
the industry has been collapsed. The government jobs, there is no circular, and this government also, that they are they're not doing fair treatment, because they are appointing as per their wish, not merit based, not examination based.
Okay.
They're doing as per their wishes. So the students, the youth of Bangladesh, is also against the government, and they want their voice to be heard.
All right, now you're talking about the rise of extremist politics in Bangladesh, and there is another development on that front, which is the return of Jamaat-e-Islami, and this comes after the Supreme Court judgment and also after the Yunus-led government lifted the ban on Jamaat. Now, how do you see the return of this party in an atmosphere, where extremist and radical elements have been empowered already in Bangladesh?
This is the true feature of this Yunus regime. If you look at the case of Jamaat-e-Islam's, that Jamaat-e-Islam's its organizational constitution, which said that they are not responsible for the constitutional process. They do not believe in the man-made law. And
Okay.
they themselves proclaiming that they will make a religious state. So in which country in the democratic world they can get democratic spaces. So their registration has been revoked in a 2013 verdict maybe. And right now, not only Jamaat-e-Islam, all other the fundamental political parties which are outlawed by Awami League government, for their role again, for their role of terrorism, for their role of killings, for their role of extremism, for their role of connection with the international terrorist organization. Right now, whether it is Hizbut Tahrir, whether it is Ansarullah Bangla team, they got they are getting the state's blessing. They are that moving freely, they are organizing freely, they are trading their supporters, activists, and not only that, that Pakistan and ISI, they have a role in the they are regarded as a breeding of the international terrorism. So they are coming freely in our country. They are doing meetings with their fellow terrorist activists. And I think this situation is not only bad for Bangladesh. This is actually a threat to the regional peace, stability, and harmonious situation in the South Asia, because the internal situation of Bangladesh obviously will be worsened if they, that if this government can retain their power for more days. The upcoming situation will be a threatening situation is awaiting if this government can continue.
All right, now you've mentioned Pakistan and ISI, and I will come to the role of Pakistan and China and how they fit into this changing dynamics. But before going to that, let's go into the domestic situation as well. You briefly talked about the situation of women and minorities ever since Yunus government came to power. I want to understand what is the situation right now with regards to human rights, with regards to women especially, because I've seen a lot of videos coming on social media where women have been, they're getting beaten up if they're not adhering to a proper dress code, and they have been forced to follow some Sharia laws as well. How do you look at that condition, and also of minorities in the country?
Bangladesh become a safe haven of the terrorists, Bangladesh become a safe haven for the extremist parts of the country. So women are the victim of this situation. Every women are now feeling threatened. They are not feel safe to go outside, to go to the educational institution to do their job, and even the dress code or the timeline or the time frame of a woman's life is determined by this mobocracy. So not only that, that previously under Sheikh Hasina, Bangladesh was championing women's rights. She was preserving women's dignity. Women's got their political shared employment rights, and the all sort of things were done by the previous Awami League government. And if you see the scenario of the women's football, Bangladesh was champion of the sub women's football, and right now the girls of Bangladesh are not. The girls of Bangladesh are terrified whenever they are playing football in their playgrounds, because there were moral policing. Some were dictating that women can't play football, they can't go outside. This dress code is not consistent with their own religious values. So these sort of things are happening randomly, and our actresses, our journalists, whether it is women or men, they are being targeted for their freedom, for their beliefs, for trying to ensure their rights. So the scenario of women right now is a shame for human rights, and the situation is worsening day by day, because whatever you were saying about that, they are actually trying to make Sharia law. In that case, women will be a second class or third class citizen. Actually, right now is seeing in Afghanistan, and also the employment situation of women, which was previously championed by the Awami League government, right now at stake, right now in a dangerous position. And as the garment industry is deteriorated by this government, women is out of work also.
All right. So from what you've described, the picture seems quite grim when it comes to human rights and rights of women as well. Now, moving on to another question, I want to ask, and I want to understand it from you as well. You've said that what Yunus has been doing so far, he seems like an opportunist who wants to stay in power and extend his time while being in power. Now, what we've seen is ever since he came to power in Bangladesh, he has taken a very anti-India stance, whether it's the statement on India's northeastern states or whether it's about Hindu rights. All of what he has done seems very anti-India. So do you think this anti-India stance is an election plank for Yunus in the country? Or what purpose does it serve for Yunus right now?
He is playing actually the religious card and for appeasing the fundamental groups, for making them happy. The fundamental groups, he is saying anti-Indian narratives. And it is the comments made by him as a head of the government is, I condemn this. This is irresponsible. This is reckless. And that Bangladesh and India relationship is based on our mutual cooperation, people-centric diplomacy, trade cooperation, cultural cooperation. And the people of both the countries are benefited from the shared mutual understanding of the country. And right now, for prioritizing his own personal agenda, for tightening his hold in the power, he tried to make happy the fundamental groups. He is playing the anti-Indian card, and also this is just to cover up his own failure in the domestic matters. He is trying to raise this issue as a cover-up just to make an excuse. So this is his
So this is like a distraction.
agenda actually. Yeah, I think so.
All right. Now, my last question to you is, because you have mentioned India, we cannot not mention Pakistan. We have seen ever since Yunus came to power, the country has been, pivoting towards Pakistan, whether it's defense cooperation, whether it's trade cooperation. We have seen leaders of the country visiting each other, shaking hands, and so how do you look at this growing relationship with Pakistan, A? And also with the kind of, how religion has become central to Bangladesh's polity. Do you think Bangladesh could become Pakistan 2.0?
This is the actually main agenda of the Yunus regime. And you know that the growing relations with Pakistan, not only Pakistan, also ISI and the Pakistan-backed terrorist organizations.
Yes.
This is becoming a security challenge for Bangladesh and the South Asia. Also, it is threatening our independence and it is threatening our secular values, our liberal and democratic values. And it also, that Pakistan itself is an unstable state. Every time there are bombings, there are mass killings. This sort of incidents happens all the time. And there is a chance, because the terrorist organizations are being more connected right now. They are sharing their information, they are sharing their training, and they are, they are taking their agendas to the next level. So this becomes a challenge for the security, sovereignty, and the freedom of Bangladesh. And I also want to say that the people of Bangladesh, that people believes in liberal values, democratic values, and people the people of Bangladesh see the Indian counterparts, Indian peoples as their friends, as their that fellow neighbor. And they believes in the people of Bangladesh believes in cooperation. But this government, that the agenda of the people is not their priority. The agenda of their own personal interest is their priority. So that's happening actually right now in Bangladesh.
All right, now from what you have described is that the people of the country do not want Yunus as the head. They want the country to go into election mode, hold the elections, let the people decide. I want to ask you, it's been long enough since Sheikh Hasina was ousted, August 2024. And clearly, as of now, we do not have an election timeline. So what are the steps being taken by the people, to force the government to hold elections?
Every political party is raising their voices,
yes,
and the voices of the the civil society and the people from all walks of life. They're trying to organize. They are trying to organize procession, protest rallies, and from whatever the position. Because right now Bangladesh is a repressive state. Bangladesh is a fascist state. There is no safety of yours if you say something against the government. if you are trying to ensure your rights, whether it is political, civil, or other sort of rights, then there is a chance of you will be a victim of the repressive nature of the state.
Okay, so
But
just a question. You said that government wants to silence the dissent. So is the government
yeah,
being helped in that agenda by the institutions as well?
yeah, you know that by taking repressive measures, they are trying to silencing the voices of the people of Bangladesh, and not only that, that not only taking initiative that sort of repressive initiatives, but also as per their law, they say that if you are uh, saying saying or some sort of discussions or some sort of dialogues in the cyber space regarding Awami League, regarding other political parties, then you are doing actually a crime.
Okay.
This is mentioned in their latest ordinance, anti-terrorism ordinance.
Okay.
So people have no other choice other than fight. People have no other choice other than restoring democracy. People have no other choice other than reclaiming their individual rights.
All right. Now, okay, so what we're given to understand that this is not the first stint of Yunus to enter politics. Briefly, there was an attempt which was not successful before. But I want to ask you, when we talk about the kind of politics, Yunus practices, was it always religious from the start, or is it something different this time?
Because if you see the nature of his previous history, he will use whatever possible for him to ensure his power. So
Okay.
that's he is doing right now. In the 2007, he said that if the then army where government give him more time, he will hold the post of caretaker government. And this time, he's also saying that he got Nobel Prize and he is doing advocacy for unelected government. He got prize in peace, and the condition of Bangladesh is totally unstable. Then the government itself playing a role in violating the human rights. He himself is responsible for the gross human rights violation right now. So this is contradictory what he advocated to the world and what he actually doing in Bangladesh. Under his regime, the minorities are the safety of minorities are totally out, and the security of the women is under challenge. And what is the global concern that the terrorism, that the religious terrorism, that got blessing under his regime. And in this situation, he is doing his own business. He is that he is enriching, empowering his own Grameen imperialism. And this is another important thing. He is maybe the most richest Nobel laureate right now, and he is focusing on that to using the state mechanism for his own economic benefit.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hussain, for joining us on India Today Global and explaining to us what is the political situation like in Bangladesh right now, with the return of Jamaat in the country and also with the kind of rising extremism that we're seeing in the country. And of course, what would be the implications for India in this scenario. Thank you so much for joining us, and viewers, stay tuned to India Today Global, where we simplify geopolitics for you.